Alright, Chase, so I'm going to be telling you everything I think is wrong with your throw and possible fixes. And you can try them. You can tell them to Coach Blackburn maybe. See what he thinks. Because he probably has a plan for you with his cues. And my cues could intertwine with his plan. Alright, so let's get started. And I'm going to start sequentially from the back. Let's get to the start of the throw. Let's play the video a little bit. Alright, that's good enough. So, your windup I have no issue with. I believe it's personal preference unless you see very extreme examples where it's extremely crazy windups that make artificial orbits and things like that. But I think this is a perfectly natural motion, and I believe you're trying to make an effort to get left very early on, which I think is great, and it's getting partially what you're trying to get out of it. But it's good that you're trying to reach as early as possible, and not trying to blow through things from the very start, breaking the chain of the technical cue. So let's go forward. You keep reaching, and here where there's hip fallback that you mentioned to me earlier in the call in Discord, I'm going to present to you a little fix because it seems like you're getting very left, kind of, at least with the reach of your arm, but it doesn't seem like you're getting left with your body. What I mean by this is, because I myself have experience with this problem because I initially had a good chain going, but I eventually messed up my chain of technique with my left side because I would force speed too much, way too often, and it would turn into a problem where I'd go into the left side of the sector and the left side of the circle, and that would mess up my direction of force with the spin, my linear force, and it wouldn't be as efficient and as forceful, resulting in not as good of a throw. So, what I mean by getting left with your body, it's something you and Abel were doing, which it's very difficult, especially for someone that it's not flexible. But you're in college, and I'm pretty sure you all have flexibility work, so you probably are better than this than you were before, and that's getting your knee. Let me get this tool. Okay, fuck it, just do pencil. Your knee, right? Getting it out more. Alright? Your left knee, getting it out more. Alright? And let's put this back a little bit. Okay, I can't put it back without this tool. Okay. Alright, so this is before the hip shift. Let's make a dot. And let's make a dot here. Hip. So, let's bring back this tool. Actually, let's put a dot at your left knee also. And let's put a dot at your shoulder. So, this is what I mean by getting over your left, not just reaching, because reaching the cue is a very temporary fix that can easily fall apart when speed is applied, but getting into the core principle of getting left is getting over the left side that you're initially starting at, so you aren't caving and making your direction of spin down the left sector over here, and make it more forward, whether that's straight down the middle or slightly angled. That's the slightly angled or middle is optimal. And I'm going to delete this right here. So let's try and go forward. See, there's the hip cave and these axes I made. That shoulder actually does a good job. With that knee, not so much getting left. So I believe you're reaching, but you're not reaching with your left knee, with your left hip. It's like getting your body and loading your left in the rotation and not straight turning it. It's like reaching out with your knee and getting it out bent more. And getting the hip out to here. And really reaching with your body, the left side axis, that whole chain, that left knee, that left hip, and that left shoulder. It looks like you do a good job with your left shoulder, but not the other two, which is what I'm seeing as which I'm seeing as a lower left side cave. All right, let me get all this shit off the screen. All right, I can see that left shoulder is doing what it's supposed to do, and I'm going to. That's my sort of issues with that right there, and I'm going to sort of provide a fix that I learned from from another thrower. He throws at Indiana, Nolan. You remember him? So one thing he taught me when I was that I found to be pretty useful, and I learned pretty quick that worked regarding the direction of my rotation, which is like, I'd go super fast. I'd go straight down this way. I'd go straight down through here, and it helped me a lot with that, and I think it'd help you with that. So what he taught me was when you're going through the back, he suggested when you get to here, and let me explain something real quick. I'm going to refer to the circle as a clock. This is going to be 12. This is going to be, what's it called? This is going to be 3. This is going to be 9. And this like where your crotch is, where the front is 6. Alright? Alright. So, remember that, because I'm going to reference that quite a bit. So, when your left arm gets to 3 o'clock, which, I guess it's more complex for you because of the right foot leaving much later, but I guess I can apply this. So just after 3 o'clock. So it looks like your left arm gets to, okay, let's just call this, I guess, 4 or 5 o'clock. You get what I'm saying. Where your left arm is when your right leg leaves the ground, I want you to hold that. So it seems to be at 6 o'clock, almost. So at 6 o'clock, hold that. Hold it like where it was there. Hold it, and this will help you with another issue later on that I'm going to interject with. Okay, so let's delete that. I want you to hold it, and I think this will help you with the direction of your rotation and overall efficiency of the deliverance of the shot. And alright, so I want you to hold it so you can essentially artificially force the direction of your throw to be down the middle. Alright? So I want that to happen, and what that'll do is I'll probably put in a clip of myself demonstrating this on how it helps, so you have a physical example, but it's like holding your left side and letting the right sort of catch up of sorts, and not letting the right just blow right through and go straight to like all the way over here. It'll force it to be shorter somewhere here. Let's delete that. Alright, shapes. I am going to be trying to show you the physical examples of what I thought, of what I was telling you about in the recording of the analysis of your throw on the stoppages of the arms I was talking about. So, my issue that I eventually developed from overspeeding my throw is exactly what you're going through, which would be blowing through my left side and dropping my left hip back and resulting in a much later right ground and a much later left ground and overall an offset of the direction of force. So, what would help with me, because the leaving of my right foot would be much earlier than yours. My right foot would leave when my left leg hit 90, which you can try. You can try and do that, which is something I learned from Travis that would help me in overall speed and technique. Which would be, once the left foot gets to 90 degrees to relatively right foot, the right foot leaves the ground. And how is not necessarily the way you do it. So, the way I see your left foot leave the ground is without force at all, which is, it can be a toss-up. Your left gets way further ahead, and your arm almost gets to 6. I don't even have the flexibility for it. And then what I believe happens is a stretch reflex in your hips, which makes your right whip around rather than which is not much control of what your right leg is doing at all. So this is what I would be doing. The left at 90, right foot pick off. So I would pick up my right, and to help me not fall into my left would be me, I turn, and I get left. And one thing that I would do that no one taught me was I'd stop right here, not here with my right on the ground, but I'd have my right already on the move, and it would be like the right side catching up, sort of, to all of this, and it would stop my left side from being over rotative and making everything drop to this side. And I would stop it, but not like a huge stop. It would be a very, very momentary stop. So it'd be it's all, you can't really see it on video because you can only feel the stop. That's how momentary it is. But it'll help you make the direction of your rotation much better. Alright, so for you do, if you decide to keep the same, because you go so far before picking up your right, instead of the whip, I want you to try pushing off of it consciously and do what I said in the video, which is have an open left heel and an open right leg and get into the middle with the inside of your entire leg. Alright? So we're talking about the video stuff, and I'm supposed to be talking about this. So for you turn super far back. So I want you to hold. I can't really replicate it because I'm not that flexible. So you're turning, and you're almost at 6 o'clock, which is over there. So because my foot would leave off at 3 o'clock, that's where I held it, I want you to hold your left at 6 o'clock and let things catch up, and also simultaneously leave the ground to left leg so you can have an early left leg push off. So they don't cross before the left leg pushes off. So for you, it'll be a momentary stop, more along those lines. And that's for the initial setup for the things I said in the analysis. And for the setup of the power position that I would like you to be in, which is after that momentary thing, where it's so momentary, that pause, that only you can feel it and a video can't physically see it. It's only you feeling it and you feeling a sort of restricting force. So after the things I told you to do in the video analysis occur, just keep going. So yeah, see, your left opens super, super wide. It almost starts to go, actually it does, and I think this contributes to why your direction of force is so far left, is that, going back to that holding of that left, your left arm goes back even, and you're talking about your how it goes down problem, that it's going back towards 12 o'clock. It's like at, 8, I'm dumb, at 10 or 11, before your left leg has even left the ground. So that's turning your shoulders, turning your hips more to the left side. So it's making your body want to turn more this way because, you're turning that shoulder back. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I want you to hold that what I was talking about earlier, because it can prevent all of that from happening. All right? So let's keep going. So, and actually we're going to go back a little bit because this is a topic I also wanted to talk about that regards your general force of rotation, the force of your legs and the force of how much you're spinning, I think is affected by how you enter, but which I think is the issue of how you enter here with your foot like this, but you fix it midway, and I can see you start attacking with more that open heel, not heel, but the inside of the foot. But one thing that I think will also majorly help is changing this right leg position, where I'm probably going to insert a clip of Ryan Krauser because it's where I learned it, and I believe he does it one of the best. Maybe, I don't know about Tom Walsh, but I learned it from Krauser, his right leg entry. Obviously, no one's as flexible as him, but I am equally as inflexible as you, and I was able to pull it off. So I don't want this right foot to be closed at entry. I know you open it up, which is good, like going in, but I want it to be open starting out. I want you to be here with a open left heel, and I'll provide a physical example of me doing that with an open left heel. And I believe of attacking the middle of the ring with an open left heel and with the inside of the right knee and having distance between your legs. And that's why I don't think there's a lot of force in the actual spinning of your throw, because of tight levers. You're not exercising, your long levers. They're all very close. So, yeah. All right, so moving on. Yeah, so I want an open foot coming in the entire time, and I want you to come in with like the inside of your entire right leg, the inside of your right knee. And I think that'll really help with your over rotation and, as a result, inefficiency of your throw. And that'll also will go into the next issue, which is right here, which is something I picked up from scouring the internet and learning from Dalton Rowan, which is the way he used to teach the discus over at A&M with their old coach. Dalton Rowan was a Conroe Oak Ridge discus thrower, 195 feet. Went over to throw over that PR in college at A&M. Directly competed with Ryan Krauser at NCAAs. So this is something I still struggle with, even at, I guess you could say partially my technical peak, because I did things right then that I don't do now, but I do things right now that I don't do then. They kind of interchange. But one thing that's universal is that the crossing of these legs. So the correct way, the ideal attacking of the middle, so is to have your left leg off of the ground before it crosses the left. All right? So, and that'll help you ground your right quicker so it can be a more linear rotation. All right? So as you can see, your left is still on the ground, and it's allowing your right to be overactive and going further and further left. Right? Because it's still going, your left is still, it's applying force extremely late. So when you get off of the ground with your left leg, it pushes your right left even more. So if you could get off your left leg earlier, consciously do it, which goes back to the holding your arm early. Holding your arm early will allow you to get off the ground with your left leg earlier. It's like an artificial block. It's a very momentary block that you have to experiment with. For me, that momentary block was over here with my left arm at 3 o'clock, because that's when my right foot would leave the ground and I would start moving, right? So with you here, it'll allow a stoppage of the left side of your body and be a forceful directional force of making your linear rotation forward instead of left forward. All right. So yeah, there's that. So that holding of that left will help you consciously get off of your left leg, like really think about it in the middle of your throw, which is, that's how technical cues go through my head, to really think about it and force it mid throw. Be very reactionary with it. All right, so moving on. Hold my notes here. So moving. We're at this phase now. With your left arm down at the ground at right foot touchdown, which I believe is an important phase of the throw. And I will tell you things you're doing right, which is your left leg. I'm liking how much more distance it is from your right knee. The left knee and right knee are much more distanced, and they're generating rotational force to add distance to your throw. So that's good. And you also have a low left leg, which will play into what I believe is your best position by far in your entire throw. I think is probably consistent in all of your throws, which I was very surprised to discover. So going into the issues here, where when I was telling you to hold earlier, it'll also, to hold your left arm, here earlier, it'll also help here. Holding it, hold it there momentarily, and try and keep it parallel to the ground. And when you're in this position, I want you to momentarily hold it here at 9 o'clock. Hold it like that, parallel to the ground, Krauser-like. I adopted his way of re-wrapping or re-torquing, because Krauser's method of throwing is unwrapping out of the back and gaining speed, and then re-wrapping in the power position with all that pent up momentum and speed in a very optimal power position and a very optimal grounded throw, turning his right side into his left. All right. And this is what he would do. He would have a left arm parallel to the ground, assisting and keeping his shoulders perpendicular to his hips at the power position, at left foot touchdown. All right, so I would like you to do that to help with the overall deliverance and the certain angle and plane of your throw. So that'll help there. Oh, it seems your left foot creeps up a little bit here, which doesn't seem to affect you because the landing of your left foot is quite optimal. It's in a good spot. So don't fix what's not broken. Optimally, you want it lower, but it's only for people who have an issue with a late left leg. So I'm going to get into your best position yet, like head and shoulders above the rest. Thumb position doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. And then I want you to hold it here. I want you to hold it 9 o'clock. And that will make it'll make your already very good power position even better, I believe. It'll make your leverages against the shot much stronger. And maybe it'll even solve your little chest cavity left of the shot. Who knows? We haven't seen how you react to it yet. So I would like it for you to hold that and rotate as you will. Rotate your right leg to get through and have your left land as early as possible. So you can have a very early double support. And those are the cues for my throw. That's a cue that I implement in my throw. Is once I get around out of the back, I hold here. I try and hold my left arm as much as I can while turning everything else. And that helps me land in my power with my hips in this plane and my shoulders in that plane. So into your issue of things moving together. This is what I believe you're doing, right? So you have that very optimal position, and you have a very impatient upper body. And you turn it, not so much prematurely, sort of prematurely, because it's not the first thing that moves. Your hips move, but at a slower rate than your upper body does. Your upper body catches up, and then eventually they're at the same plane before your hips are fully facing the front of the ring. So I want you to have a more patient upper body, have it face the front before your shoulders do, to have that torque. Because they were all awful, right? So when your left touches down, it's quite remarkable because it seems like your entire foot touches down rather than like me or Ben or Abel even, which like our toe or the ball of our left foot lands noticeably before our heel. It's like your heel grounds quickly, which I very much like. It's very efficient and it builds the foundation of a good block. But I'm going to get into where all that falls apart. So, oh, and before I get into that, I also want to mention one thing you're also doing right, even better than Krauser, honestly, because, so this is what generates torque in the power position, having your hips, okay? So I can't really draw this in 3D, but, you know, like this is the plane of your hips. Your hips are this way, right? Your hips are, well, an arrow isn't very good, but this is the plane of your hips. This is the plane of your hips. I'm drawing a line through your hips, and just picture it in 3D, all right? So it's that's not very good because your hips are straight. So this is very good. They're straight, and they're completely perpendicular to the plane of your shoulders. It's like a T. This is done very well, even though you don't do the rewrapping of your left leg. I mean, not left leg, my bad. Of your left arm, when I was talking about earlier, holding your left arm at 9 o'clock. I believe doing that will affect the general positioning that you have over the shot even better. And it'll allow for an even better, more powerful delivery, all right? So, you are in a very, very good position for torque and power, but it all falls apart, I believe, because it seems like that torque sort of unwinds before the deliverance of the shot. It seems like your hips and shoulders unwind at the same time. Your hips sort of stay the same here. They're staying the same. Now they're basically even with the shoulders. It's like your hips did not move before the shoulders. So the solution to this, yeah, see, I'm trying to demonstrate that now your shoulders are in the same plane as your hips, yeah? So the solution to this is, it's like when you're in that nice position, I want you to be more patient with your upper body. I want your stand throw to happen with your legs first. I want you to think about what you do with your stand throw with your legs earlier than you normally do. Like, try and do it as early as possible, like uncomfortably early, because that uncomfortableness is you finding the optimal, like the correct optimal way. Because it's initially like that. It's initially uncomfortable. So as early as possible, and have a patient upright, a patient torso, a patient upper side, patient shoulders, and quick right legs delivering first. So your lower body can deliver first and give your upper body lots of torque to work with that you gain from that very, very good power position. Because I believe it all goes to waste with you unwinding your shoulders into the same plane as your hips. All right? So that's my solution to that. Okay. So now we're going to go into your delivering of the shot. And I'm not really going to get too into the turning of the right foot as of how advanced of a concept it is, and how not even me or Ben are able to put it into practice, but have a concept of, but we can't actually make the mind muscle connection and are not used to it at all. But I will get into it at the very, very end, just to add additional information to what I think this force is. All right, so what I believe happens is with the delivering of your shot, I don't think it's like correct at all. I think it's a very weird, flawed habit that you actually, like, you got the shot pressed against your neck, maybe throughout the entire throw, maybe you're consciously doing it, but I think you relax your arm at the delivery. I don't think you press it into your neck at all at delivery. I think you let it relax and drop, and I think you let your right chest, like your right chest, not the muscles. Like, I think you let your right chest cavity move the shot rather than you straight, like rather than you turning and continue pressing and not letting the shot drop. I think you let the shot drop and you move it with your chest cavity rather than turning your right side and stopping your left and pressing like a car jack, like half of a car jack. That's the way I see the deliverance of the shot. So I see that start out the push, and I see it turn into a very strange push that isn't what you're fully capable of. That I believe if you do it the way I'm telling you, you can get a lot more of your bench press strength and your upper body strength and your push press strength into it. Because I think you're putting yourself out of the power range, like out of what would give you the most force and give you the most access to all of your motor units. So that's covering your right side. All right? And now we're going to get into your left side, which I will also give my insight and possible fix to. So what happens here is quite shocking because it appears that your left side doesn't stop at all. You run right through it, and you actually pull right through before your feet even leave the ground. So it's like you're super pulling that thing around. It's like you're trying to rip right through the power position, which is okay. It's okay to do that. You're trying to get through that. You're trying to get the most out of that re-wrap speed and pumped up momentum. But what I would like to see here is you can push through, you can rip that left arm as much as you want, but I want it to stop. I want you to stop it early. Stop it like here or around here, because if you think about stopping it there, it will likely not stop there. It will stop more like around here because of that late mind-muscle connection. It will stop more along there, which is it's a much more ideal block position for you to finish over. And holding that there will allow you to keep holding that shoulder and not pull it back. And you can finish over that left side along with that proper finish. And that's what I believe is going on there. And the evidence is in, I can physically see the shoulder move through it. And I can see you pull your head back even. So I'm going to provide another physical example. And I like to call it a Ridgway non, because I learned this from Coach Ridgway. He provided a pretty valid method of practice of doing this, which is a certain type of non-reverse stand throw as well, and you can practice it in fulls, which is essentially you stopping your right side and try to consciously watch the shot. Don't rip. Rip throughout the majority of the power, stop it where I told you to stop it, and try to keep looking in that direction where you stopped as hard as possible, and that will make your block much stronger and allow a much more efficient pushover of that side, of that block side. All right? So I will provide a physical example of how to do this, and I'll verbally explain it. And it's where you do a regular non, but don't you know how people finish nons, where it's like the right foot comes forward? This is also a way to practice being grounded. So I'll get into the grounded part later at the very very end. But um, I'm gonna yeah. So what you do is it's normal non. However you do a non, you turn it open. I want you to stop that right, and I want you to look. Keep looking at wherever you held, and keep looking at the thrown shot. All right. I want you to keep looking, and that will help you practice that position. And I also do not want you to turn your obviously turn your right, but I don't want your right foot to leave where it started. I don't want it to come forward. This is going to be practicing your block. All right? It's going to be practicing a very, very strong block. And you'll be practicing your right side, trying to overcome it and finish over it. All right, Chase, this is going to be a demonstration of how you do the Ridgeway non-reverse, which is practicing the block and the right side and staying in the same place, holding the block and finishing through. And it'll also practice staying grounded. So, what happens in Ridgeway non is it's a non-reverse throw. However you do your nons, however you wind, you know, you're in your non-reverse position. Turn, and the pushing of the barbell will be my pressing of the shot. So, you do your turn your hips first, they're facing the ring first, and you got that torque, then you turn your shoulders. Remember I was telling you to be patient with your shoulders? Now what happens here is all the Ridgeway method. So, you're here, you're facing, you got your block leg, you got your block shoulder, and I want you to push the shot. I want you to finish. Finish the shot. Finish the shot, right? And I want you to stay in this position. You know, not obviously not the barbell position, but stay in this position. I want you to turn it, hold that block, and stay like that. No coming forward or the right. You know, pretend this is a toe board. I don't want it to move at all. How long it takes to get used to. Like this, I think will take months to get efficient at, which is keeping, a good left leg side, and try and turn not your leg, not your foot, but try turning like the inside of your quad. Try turning the inside of your knee into that left. All right? And when you do that and your hips are ahead and then your shoulders catch up because of the torque, think about like I'm going to show you a Krauser example. Think about pressing the shot as far away from your body before your legs switch, before you leave the ground. Getting the shot as far away from your chest as you can before your legs switch. And what else can I say about this? And that is going to be that is what I believe is the concept of a grounded throw, and putting it into practice it's an off-season concept. Don't try it in season. You're going to screw yourself up because it's too hard. It's too hard, man. But yeah. And you do that press out not the way you do it. The way Ryan Krauser does it, I want you to look at how you press that shot out versus how he does. He doesn't use his chest cavity to push the shot. His shoulders just open up, and it's like he presses his right arm out. And then his legs switch. His right arm is very functional as like a car jack. It's like a half of a car jack. Think about a half of a car jack. If you split it down the middle, maybe I'll provide a visual of that. And then that car jack expanding, like pushing the car up and pushing the shot away, rather than using the shot to your chest to lift the shot and then do your botched press out. Do a press out where the shot does not change, sort of like, So, your shoulders get square, and I want you to do a press out where the shot does not change direction at all. Like it stays within a straight, linear plane. And the only thing that's moving, the only thing that's moving is your elbow, and it's extending. And it's like there's a line connected to your shoulder and hand of you extending. It's like there's a line. And that's what I think can sort of get a little, I think that's as in detail as I can get with this. And I'm trying to provide as much possible cues for you to try, because some things will click for other people that won't click for me. What clicks for me won't click for you. So I'm trying to provide this in as many sort of different worded ways as possible, and as many sort of mind muscle connected firings as possible. Because sometimes it just needs to put in different words for it to click with someone. Alright, so I think that's going to conclude this analysis, and I'm going to get to editing now.